Wisdom of Silent Sacrifice is True Happiness, a teaching inspired by Gautama Buddha. In a world that constantly rewards visibility, recognition, and applause, the idea of silent sacrifice may seem outdated or even foolish. Modern culture encourages us to announce our efforts, display our achievements, and seek validation for our generosity. Yet, the wisdom inspired by Gautama Buddha points toward a deeper truth. True happiness is often found not in what is seen, but in what is quietly given. Silent sacrifice does not mean suffering in silence or suppressing one's needs entirely. It refers to the willingness to give, to serve, or to endure difficulty for the well-being of others without seeking praise or acknowledgement. It is the gentle act of choosing compassion over recognition, contribution over credit, and love over applause. In that quiet space, something extraordinary happens. The heart becomes light. The nature of sacrifice. Sacrifice, in its pure form, is an offering. It is the decision to place another's well-being before personal comfort in a given moment. A parent wakes early to prepare a child for school. A partner works late to support the family. A friend listens patiently despite exhaustion. These acts are rarely celebrated publicly. Often they go unnoticed. But why does silent sacrifice feel different from forced obligation? The difference lies in intention. When sacrifice is chosen consciously, rooted in love rather than resentment, it becomes meaningful. When it is done freely, without demanding repayment, it becomes transformative. Happiness emerges not from the loss endured, but from the purpose embraced. The ego and the need for recognition. One of the greatest obstacles to silent sacrifice is the ego's desire for acknowledgement. We want to be seen. We want our effort to be recognized. We want someone to say, "I see what you have done." This desire is human and natural, yet when it dominates our actions, generosity becomes transactional. We give with one eye on the return. The moment recognition does not come, disappointment arises. Resentment quietly builds. Silent sacrifice invites us to examine this pattern. Can we give without needing applause? Can we contribute without enhancing it? Can we endure discomfort without making others feel indebted? When we release the demand for validation, our giving becomes pure, and pure giving brings peace. The inner freedom of selfless giving. True happiness is not always loud. It is not always expressed in excitement or outward celebration. Sometimes it is a calm, steady contentment. Silent sacrifice cultivates this contentment. When you act from compassion without expectation, you free yourself from emotional dependence on others' reactions. Your peace no longer relies on gratitude or praise. If appreciation comes, you smile. If it does not, you remain steady. This steadiness is freedom. You are no longer trapped in emotional accounting, no longer measuring who noticed, who thanked, who responded. You give because it aligns with your values. That alignment is happiness. The difference between silent sacrifice and suppression. It is important to clarify that silent sacrifice does not mean suppressing pain or ignoring injustice. It does not mean staying in harmful situations or denying your own needs indefinitely. True silent sacrifice arises from wisdom, not self-neglect. If sacrifice leads to bitterness, it is no longer pure. If silence hides unresolved resentment, it becomes unhealthy. The teaching encourages mindful sacrifice, sacrifice that is chosen consciously with a peaceful heart. The key question is, am I giving freely, or am I silently demanding recognition? When giving is free, it uplifts. When it is forced, it drains. Everyday expressions of silent sacrifice. Silent sacrifice is rarely dramatic. It lives in small, ordinary acts. It is the parent who works extra hours without complaint. It is the spouse who adjusts plans to support a partner's dream. It is the colleague who helps quietly without claiming credit. It is the sibling who forgives without reopening old wounds. These acts may never appear on a stage, yet they shape the emotional atmosphere of families, workplaces, and communities. The person who practices silent sacrifice becomes a stabilizing force. Others may not fully understand why they feel safe in that presence, but they do. The happiness of meaning. Psychologists often distinguish between pleasure and meaning. Pleasure is immediate and sensory. Meaning is deeper and enduring. Silent sacrifice generates meaning. When you endure difficulty for something larger than yourself, for love, for family, for integrity, your life feels purposeful. Purpose reduces suffering. Even when sacrifice involves effort or discomfort, the heart remains fulfilled because it knows why it acts. This is a quiet form of joy. Breaking the cycle of comparison. Modern society encourages constant comparison. Who earns more? Who is recognized more? Who sacrifices more? Comparison creates dissatisfaction. Silent sacrifice steps out of this competition. It no longer asks, "Am I giving more than others?" It asks, "Am I acting according to my values?" When your focus shifts from comparison to integrity, peace grows. You no longer feel threatened by others' success. You no longer resent unrecognized effort. You act from internal guidance rather than external measurement. That internal stability is happiness. Silent sacrifice in family life. Families often depend on invisible sacrifices. Parents give up personal time. Children adapt to family circumstances. Partners compromise. When these sacrifices are done with resentment, tension grows. But when they are done with conscious love, bonds deepen. A home becomes peaceful not because there is no sacrifice, but because sacrifice is offered gently. Silent sacrifice in the family builds trust. It communicates, "Your well-being matters to me." This message strengthens connection. Silent sacrifice in relationships. In partnerships, silent sacrifice may mean letting go of the need to win every argument. It may mean listening first. It may mean choosing patience over pride. These acts protect the relationship from ego-driven damage. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give is restraint, choosing not to say a hurtful word, choosing not to escalate a conflict. That restraint is a form of sacrifice, and it preserves harmony. The spiritual dimension. On a deeper spiritual level, silent sacrifice weakens attachment to the self. When you act without seeking praise, the ego softens. When you give without keeping score, attachment loosens. This reduces suffering. Much of human distress arises from clinging to identity, to being seen as generous, capable, or superior. Silent sacrifice dissolves this clinging. It reminds you that goodness does not require advertisement. It simply exists. The paradox of recognition. Ironically, those who practice silent sacrifice often earn genuine respect, not because they seek it, but because their character becomes evident over time. People sense authenticity. But even if recognition never comes, the practitioner remains peaceful. Their happiness was never dependent on applause. This independence is strength. The courage to remain unseen. It takes courage to give quietly. It takes courage to endure misunderstanding without defending constantly. It takes courage to continue contributing even when unnoticed. But this courage builds inner resilience. You begin to realize that your worth does not depend on visibility. Your value does not require confirmation. You know who you are, and that knowledge is deeply satisfying. silent sacrifice, and inner lightness. When you stop announcing your sacrifices, your mind becomes lighter. There is no narrative to maintain, no image to protect. You simply act. This simplicity reduces mental noise. Over time, joy emerges not from being acknowledged, but from living authentically. You feel aligned, and alignment is happiness. The ultimate insight. True happiness is not always loud celebration. It is often quiet alignment with compassion. Silent sacrifice teaches that fulfillment does not require an audience. It grows from the harmony between intention and action. When you give freely without seeking reward, your heart expands. When your heart expands, resentment diminishes. When resentment diminishes, peace deepens. Peace is happiness. In choosing silent sacrifice, you choose freedom from ego-driven need. You choose integrity over attention. You choose meaning over momentary applause. And in that quiet choice, day after day, something remarkable happens. Your life becomes lighter. Your relationships become deeper. Your mind becomes calmer. Happiness is no longer something you chase. It is something you embody. Through silent sacrifice, the heart learns that true joy is not in being seen, but in being sincere. And sincerity, lived consistently, becomes the foundation of lasting peace.